She was 3 seasons pregnant and starving, yet instead of fleeing from the woman on the forest trail, the wild chipmunk stood frozen, staring into her eyes. No chipmunk does that, not ever. Something was terribly wrong. And in the days that followed, this tiny creature would reveal a secret that would leave one woman in tears. Ellen was walking her usual path through the woods behind her home when a small shape darted out and stopped directly in front of her feet. It was a chipmunk, but it didn't run. It just sat there, staring up at her with wide, glassy eyes, as if it were trying to speak a language she couldn't understand. Ellen froze too. In all her years hiking these trails, she had never seen a wild animal behave this way. Chipmunks are famous for one thing above all else: vigilance. They dart, they dash, they vanish into leaf litter at the faintest footstep. So when this one refused to move, Ellen's mind raced through the possibilities. Was it sick, injured, poisoned by something in the underbrush? She crouched slowly, half expecting it to bolt, but it held its ground, trembling ever so slightly, caught somewhere between fear and desperate need. She reached out a hand. The chipmunk didn't flinch. Its whole tiny body seemed to radiate a kind of exhausted, quiet suffering. Ellen didn't know what was wrong, but she knew she couldn't just walk away. She murmured softly to it, telling it she wouldn't hurt it, and on instinct, she offered the only thing she had, a promise of food and water. Ellen rushed home and returned with a small pile of nuts. What happened next stunned her. The chipmunk threw itself at the food, stuffing its cheeks as fast as its tiny paws could move, eating like a creature that hadn't had a proper meal in far too long, like it was terrified this chance might never come again. That single act of kindness changed everything. The next morning, the chipmunk was back, this time waiting nervously at the bottom of Ellen's porch steps, clearly torn between hunger and fear. Ellen crouched and waited patiently, and slowly, the little animal crept forward, accepted the food, and for the first time, let her stroke its back. Over the following days, something remarkable unfolded. The chipmunk grew bolder. It leapt onto Ellen's lap. It burrowed into her jacket pockets, hunting for hidden treats like a curious toddler rifling through a purse. It followed her to her front door, waited for her when she came outside, and greeted her with an excitement Ellen could only describe as pure joy. She started calling her Nutmeg. Ellen found herself looking forward to these visits more than she ever expected. There was something profoundly moving about being trusted by a wild thing, about watching fear slowly dissolve into affection. Every time Nutmeg curled into her palm, Ellen felt an unspoken understanding pass between them, a bond that defied every rule of wild and tame. But even as their friendship deepened, one question kept nagging at Ellen. Why had a healthy wild chipmunk broken every instinct it had just to approach a stranger? Something had driven Nutmeg to take that risk, and the answer, when it finally came, would explain everything. Weeks into their friendship, Ellen noticed it. Nutmeg's belly had grown round and heavy, her movements slower, more deliberate, and suddenly, everything clicked into place. Nutmeg hadn't approached Ellen out of simple curiosity or boldness. She was pregnant, and desperately, urgently searching for enough food to survive the demands of carrying new life. That first frozen, trembling encounter on the trail hadn't been strange behavior at all. It had been a mother's last resort. Ellen felt her chest tighten with realization. Every voracious meal, every cheek stuffed to bursting, every nervous visit to her porch, it had all been survival. Nutmeg had gambled everything on the hope that a stranger might help her, because her own body could no longer provide enough on its own. It was, Ellen realized, one of the boldest acts of maternal instinct she had ever witnessed. From that day forward, Ellen built Nutmeg a small wooden shelter in the yard, filled it with soft bedding, and made sure food and water were always waiting. And then, just as her visits had grown more urgent and frequent, they began, without warning, to change again. Nutmeg started rushing back and forth to the forest, stuffing her cheeks and disappearing again and again, hoarding everything she could carry. At first, Ellen assumed she was simply stockpiling snacks, but a little research told her the truth. Chipmunks carry their young for only about a month, often giving birth to litters of 4 to 6 babies. Nutmeg wasn't hoarding. She was preparing, packing a nursery, provisioning for a birth that was only days away. Then, just as suddenly as she'd appeared, Nutmeg vanished. Days passed with no sign of her. Ellen worried. She kept the food out anyway, kept watch from her window, hoping. And then one morning, Ellen stepped into her garden and stopped in her tracks. There, peeking out from the grass beside Nutmeg, were three tiny wobbling shapes, baby chipmunks, their eyes wide and curious, staring up at her exactly the way their mother once had. Nutmeg had come home, and she'd brought her family with her. Ellen felt tears well up before she even realized she was crying. It was, she said, like watching an old friend return from a long journey, proud and exhausted, introducing her children to someone she trusted with her life. The babies, still unsteady on their feet, huddled close to their mother as Nutmeg nudged them gently forward. In the days that followed, Nutmeg brought her three babies to the porch again and again, teaching them, just as she had once learned herself, that this house and this woman meant safety. Where there had once been one small, frightened visitor, there were now four, and Ellen's quiet mornings were filled with tiny footsteps and twitching whiskers. Looking back, Ellen realized that fateful day on the trail hadn't been an accident at all. It had been a mother, desperate and out of options, making an impossible choice to trust a stranger, because she had no other way to protect the tiny lives growing inside her. And that trust had paid off beyond anything either of them could have imagined. Now, watching Nutmeg's babies grow bolder every day, Ellen can't help but wonder, someday, when they're grown and have families of their own, will they remember this house? Will they, too, learn to trust the woman who once gave their mother a reason to hope? Nature, it turns out, still finds ways to ask for help. And sometimes, when we answer, we get to witness something truly extraordinary in return. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in the quiet magic of the animal kingdom. See you in the next story.